Okay, so on Monday, August the 21st, what we have is a solar eclipse. There are kind of two big types of eclipses. You've got solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. And like the name suggests, in a solar eclipse, then the sun is eclipsed, the moon's shadow falls on the earth. In a lunar eclipse, and the moon is eclipsed, or the earth's shadow falls on the moon. And what we've got going on the 21st is a solar eclipse. Now that only happens at new moon. The earth and the moon and the sun are not in perfect alignment. The moon orbits the earth orbits the sun, but the moon's orbit is about cattywampus by about 5 degrees. So every single new moon doesn't generate a total eclipse. But when everything lines up just right and the moon is in between the earth and the sun, then we get an eclipse somewhere on earth. This is the real deal. This is a total eclipse. So the moon is going to block the entirety of the sun. If you look at the eclipse from a little narrow path that runs all the way from Oregon down to South Carolina. Now, here where we are, we won't quite see it lined up perfectly. We'll only see about 97% of the sun's disk blocked. So it won't get completely dark. We won't see the stars come out. We won't see the shadow racing at us at faster than the speed of sound. We won't feel the temperature drop. We won't see everything that folks experiencing totality will, but it'll still be pretty cool. The difference between experiencing totality and a partial eclipse is literally night and day. It's only during the 2.5 minutes or so that one could get of totality that the skies get dark enough for stars to come out and crickets chirp and cows come home. You can see a 360-degree sunset around the horizon if you have a view of the horizon. If you have a bit of a view into the distance, you can see the shadow of the moon approaching at faster than the speed of sound and eventually receding away at faster than the speed of sound. You can see the diamond ring effect or the Bailey beads at the beginning and the end of a solar eclipse. It's only then that you can see the corona, the sun's corona and the sun's chromosphere. And it's totally weather dependent. If it's cloudy, you get nothing. So if you go out Sunday night, drive all night, stake out a spot, and the big time comes, and for your 2 minutes of glory, there's a cloud over the sun, you walk away completely empty-handed. So you got to look at the weather forecast and make your best guess and go for it. If you can, go someplace north on the 21st, it's worth trying. But if not, a partial eclipse is really great to see too. So when you're on campus or anywhere else that's not experiencing totality, you have to wear eye protection the whole entire time, no matter what. Even if 99% of the sun's surface is blocked, it's still 10,000 times as bright as a full moon, and even just 1% of the solar surface can damage your eyes. So there will be eclipse viewing glasses handed out on campuses, on all of the GHC campuses, and that'd be probably the best way to go. You can also make a pinhole camera, and it's kind of exactly what the name sounds. You can poke a hole in a piece of cardboard or paper, and the sun's image projected through that hole will be magnified, and you can see the bite being taken out of the sun. And once the partial eclipse really gets underway, once maybe half or more of the sun is blocked, give or take, then even tree leaves start to act like pinhole cameras. If you stand under a tree and look at the little bits of sunshine that filter down through the leaves, you'll see little tiny crescents of sun, and that's not an illusion, that really is the image of what the sun looks like. And then in literature and historically, eclipses have played significant roles. One of Columbus's last journeys to the New World, he became stranded on Jamaica, I think it was, the island of Jamaica. And at first he was welcomed with a lot of hospitality. The locals took him in, took he and his crew in, fed them, sheltered them. But the longer they stayed, the more Columbus's crew wore out their welcome. And a lot of things happened, but it got to the point where the locals were no longer really willing to feed the crew, and they were on the verge of starvation. Columbus happened to know that a lunar eclipse, now we've got a solar eclipse coming on the 21st, but Columbus knew from the astronomers of the day that a lunar eclipse was going to occur in the next few days. So he went to see the local chiefs and said that if you don't start feeding us, the gods are going to be angry and they're going to take away the moon in 3 days. And then when what he said actually happened, that caused quite the impression. They immediately started supplying food to Columbus's crew again, and he was able, with a little bit of trickery and theatrics, to save his crew from starvation with the foreknowledge of a pending lunar eclipse. The next time that you have a shot is actually in 2024. It's not quite so long away, but that eclipse is going to start in Texas and cut up through toward Maine. So you've got at least a 6-hour drive if you want to experience totality. That's the real show. Here we can experience totality with a much shorter drive. And on each of the Georgia Highlands campuses, Student Services will set up a tent outside and have eclipse viewing glasses so that you can see it with your very own eyes in real time. And also, I think they're going to have eclipse-themed free food. So free food, if nothing else. If the eclipse is not tempting enough, then free food should be enough to get everyone to come out and stop and see the partial eclipse. It will be a deep partial eclipse from our perspective. About 97% of the sun's disk will be blocked. And so you will get to see a lot of the effects that normally are only seen if you go and see the real deal, the full total eclipse. And again, that's only going to be visible from a little bit of drive north of here.